So these are some of the initiatives we will be undertaking in terms of phasing out mercury, and we're asking for the nationals to to open up to learning more about this and to the actions that we can all take to protect ourselves and the environment and our families.
All right. So, Ms. Lake, coming to you now, how does mercury become a problem, for example, in the water? How does it get into the water, into the sea, into the food chain, and into the fish? Because from my own knowledge of mercury, it's a very heavy thing. Someone hands you a very small plastic bottle with mercury, and you take it thinking, and your hand just drops because. So to me, I would think something like that would sink to the bottom and into the ground or under the sand in the seabed very quickly. How does it get into the food chain and to fish and all of that?
Okay, well, that happens through extraction because mercury is used in industry and production in a lot of areas, and it can actually become airborne, and mercury vapors can actually be released, and that will get into the waters, and then it will become water soluble, so to speak, and that is how it would basically be transferred into the marine ecosystem.
Wow, this is scary, so you can be breathing in mercury vapors and so on. You said that studies are being carried out, but is there any evidence that here in Antigua and Barbuda that this is a problem of any significance, or is it just something where we want to contribute to a global effort for something that is overall safe?
Okay, well, the studies actually commenced in January, so it's still an ongoing process, and our studies will basically wrap up at the end of May, June, and then it will be published during the course later on. So far we're in the collection phase. We're collecting samples, various hair samples, and also the cosmetics as well. So, and then we will go on to the testing phase, the testing aspects of the study. So far we don't have any results yet, but that is what we're currently going through that process. But after, the results will indeed be published, so we can have a clear idea of how much of a threat this is to our population specifically, because studies like this have been done in other regions, so they have a lot of data, but there's not really much data for developing countries, countries in this region, more so the Caribbean. So Antigua is really on the forefront in the Caribbean with this type of study.
Are there any areas in which mercury was used that have been phased out? Because I'm not clear, for example, dental fillings. Has this become something that has been phased out, even outlawed, or is it still used in some instances or countries? Is it a discretionary thing? I hear about pressure switches in electricity. You mentioned about the fluorescent bulbs. Have we had any success, whether globally or otherwise, in decisively discontinuing the use of mercury in certain instances?
I will start by answering, and then Ms. Lake can fill in any other gaps. Right. So, as a global initiative, it's still in process, and so in terms of dental amalgams, there is no global decisive. Each country will decide its own. We nationally don't have a policy to ban mercury amalgams. I think most private dentists make the decision. I can speak when you asked about how mercury can be toxic to us. I have my own personal story of being poisoned by mercury by removing an old mercury filling from childhood that needed to be removed. And as Ms. Lake said, it's airborne. So, and this is not to scare the general public that this will happen to everyone, but some people can be more sensitive to mercury than other people. We are all unique and individual. And through the removal of that filling, apparently, again, because it's airborne, that I inhaled the mercury and I became poisoned by it, and I started having some significant symptoms that were completely debilitating and life-changing for me, and not just quote unquote in my head, meaning